Come
Good
on.
morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is November 25th. The 25th of November. I've been hearing about this date for a little bit. Hopefully, nothing happens today. All right, but I wanted to go over this article. It says Hungary slams UN migration pact for trying to legalize illegal immigration. This guy, Peter Sarjatro, has announced the UN Migration Pact, has denounced the UN Migration Pact. All right, Peter Sarjatro. Peter Sarjatro has denounced the UN Migration Pact. Hungary's foreign minister, Peter Sarjatro, has denounced the UN Migration Pact for striving to legalize illegal immigration, declaring his country will vote no on the agreement in Marrakesh this December. Sarjatro said the goal of the UN Global Compact for Migration is to legalize illegal immigration, which is unacceptable and violates the sovereignty of member states, including that of Hungary. The UN is making the same mistakes as the European Union, which wants to base its migration policy on mandatory resettlement quotas, he continued. The UN Compact is more dangerous, however, because it's a global initiative, meaning it will have a greater effect than European policies and represent a risk to the whole entire world. Exactly. And this is what the UN is doing, ladies and gentlemen. Right now on our southern borders, all of a sudden they're going, hey, everything up until this point is, you guys got to legalize all this migration, illegal immigration and migration and just everything. Everybody, open borders for the entire world. Open borders for the entire world. And people are going like, wait, what? What the hell is this? George Soros takes Hungary to court to force open border policies. That's a related article. We might want to go and check that out. But this article goes on to say, after the minister stated Hungary would vote no to the Global Compact for safe and orderly migration in Marrakesh, the minister added that the government's main concern with the compact is whether or not it is mandatory, and in view of the fact that the document contains the world obligation on 80 occasions. The claim that it only includes recommendations is a false one. A legally not binding document would not prescribe the establishment of national action plans, and accordingly, it is clear than day that just like the originally voluntary mandatory quota, the Global Compact for Migration will become a point of reference, mandatory, and the basis for international judicial decisions, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade said. Okay, I kind of didn't understand that with all those words, but whatever. Just before Hungary's statement, Dutch MEP and co-president of the Europe of Nations and Freedom Group, ENF, Marcel de Graaf, said it is still the legal framework on which the participating countries commit themselves to build new legislation. All right, Hungary slams UN Migration Pact for trying to legalize illegal immigration. Declaring it legalization of mass migration, the Dutch populace stated it's declaring migration a human right. This is what I was talking about. Declaring it legalization of mass migration, the Dutch populace stated it's declaring migration a human right. We'll watch a little bit of that video. This is so big though. What they're doing right now, this is just so huge. Belgian law professor Pierre D'Argent has argued the migration agreement could be utilized by lawyers in interpreting laws. As German law professor Mathis Hergden noted the UN Compact occupied a legal gray area, which gives the impression of state liability. Mr. de Graaf warned that the document could be used as a reason for making criticism of mass migration illegal. One basic element of this new agreement is the extension of the definition of hate speech. The definition of hate speech. Criticism of migration will become a criminal offense. Media outlets that give room to criticism of migration can be shut down. It will become impossible to criticize Merkel's welcome migrants politics without being at risk of being jailed for hate speech, de Graaf added. On Thursday, Neon Netto reported that Angela Merkel proposed countries should be prepared to give up control over their borders to the European Union in another attack against Brexit. Unbelievable. Let's go to the film. Let's go to the film.
Guests, it's nice to have you here on our Strasbourg press conference. And I would like to say some words on the Global Compact on Migration. On the 10th and 11th of December, there will be an international congress in Marrakesh, Morocco, with regard to this Global Compact on Migration. And the participating countries are set to sign this agreement. And although this joint agreement isn't binding, it's still meant to be the legal framework on which the participating countries commit themselves to build new legislation. And one basic element of this new agreement is the extension of the definition of hate speech. The agreement wants to criminalize migration speech. Criticism of migration will become a criminal offense. And media outlets, and that also concerns you, that give room to criticism of migration can be shut down. The Compact for Migration is legalization of mass migration. It's declaring migration as a human right. So in fact, it will become impossible to criticize Ms. Merkel's welcome migrants politics without being at risk to be jailed for hate speech. So this agreement, to our humble opinion, is a coup d'etat of pro-migrant liberal globalists. And it will greatly benefit multinationals. Because, you know, countries who import the third world will become the third world. And it's absolutely clear, and you all know that in third world countries, multinationals dictate the rules. It will become impossible to state that integration of migrants from Islamic countries in Western cultures is impossible. It will become impossible to mention the fact that mass migration deteriorates the Western welfare systems, and the fact that mass migration leads to explosive surge of rape and murder. And this makes the timing of the Compact on Migration significant, as we are heading towards elections of the European Parliament next year. With this treaty, the EU member states and the European Commission are destroying the political level playing field. It allows them to cut funding of migration critical political parties and silencing the political opposition. And to me, I would like to state this very clearly, the Tommy Robinson case in the UK is the first example to be set, and it will be an example that will follow, and probably during the elections, based on the Global Compact on Migration. So, that means the conclusion can already be that European Parliament elections will be rigged. And only the United States of America, Australia and Hungary have indicated not to sign this agreement. So we herewith urge every country that opposes mass migration to reject this compact. Thank you.